To kick us off, I will be handing this over to Mindset's Ethan Jewett. Ethan is a well-known SAP thought leader and SAP mentor. He leads many of Mindset's initiatives around DevOps and SAP development and is a frequent presenter and host of an array of SAP events.
Thanks, Amy. Hi, everyone. I'm Ethan. I'm very excited to welcome you to today's session. I think as most of us know, SAP CRM is getting closer to its end of life, along with the rest of the business suite. And that's leaving many organizations wondering how to quickly and least disruptively transition their system away from CRM. For many organizations, S/4HANA is that solution that they'll be bridging to for most of their CRM functionality. So today's topic is very timely for companies who are weighing their options there. Leading us in the discussion today is Mindset's Paparoa Undavali. Paparoa is a SAP CRM solution architect with more than 20 years of experience on SAP ERP, CRM, and S/4HANA. He's been working with the CRM and ERP solutions as a developer since 1998, providing enhancements to the standard platform for SAP customers, both in consulting roles and application support roles. So with that introduction, I will hand it off to Paparoa. Thank you, Paparoa.
All right. Thank you, Ethan, for the great introduction. Hello, all. Today, I'm excited to talk about the SAP journey to S/4HANA. So I have a few slides I would like to show to you today. So what we are going to talk today is that what is SAP S4 CRM and why we need to discuss S4 CRM. How is the data model and data harmonization looks like in S4 CRM? And what is the best of the both worlds, from S/4HANA and also from SAP CRM? How the CRM architecture looks like in S4 and how to migrate SAP CRM into S4. What are the mindset accelerator tools available to migrate the data from SAP CRM into S4, and how the CRM UI looks like in S4, and what are the migration steps we follow. That's what today's agenda. What is S4 CRM? It is a simplified version of SAP CRM embedded into SAP's digital core S/4HANA. It provides the pre-sales capabilities, customer interaction management, sales and service order management directly into S/4HANA. It is also known as S/4HANA for customer management. Why S4 CRM? It is a simplified landscape which you can run at a lower cost of ownership. S4 CRM UI is still built based on SAP CRM Web Client UI. No middleware, no Java, no Trax, no IPC. SAP redesigned one order framework, which is basically eliminating the data redundancy in S4 CRM. SAP provides the CDS views and SAP HANA Live Analytics for reporting purposes. Improved performance through native HANA database. Harmonized UI with the visual appearance of priority. Option to consolidate SAP ERP customer service and SAP CRM. SAP is not investing anymore in SAP CRM, and product support is also ending very soon. So there is no middleware. It's all one system. It's all S4 CRM. It comes with as a core of SAP S/4HANA. So the maintenance cost or the implementation and all that is going to be in only one system. That is a good thing, and also that there is no data duplications. It's all in one system. We're going to talk about the data model and harmonization in S4 CRM. As we all know that in SAP CRM, when it comes to the master data, the main object is a business partner, whereas in ECC that is equivalent to the customer and vendor. But now when it comes to the S4 HANA or S4 CRM, now it's called a business partner. So they took that CRM business partner concept and they adapted into S4 HANA. So now it's only one object called a business partner. When it comes to the material master data, so in CRM, we call it as a product, and ECC it is called a material. So basically what we do, right, we create a material master data and we replicate into S4 in SAP CRM. But now in S4, right, so it's all one system, there is no middleware, so we are dealing with the material instead of the product object. Similarly, in SAP CRM, we have I object, whereas in ECC, we call it as an equipment. And now when it comes to the S4 HANA, it's an equipment object. IBase in CRM, whereas in ECC, it's a functional location. In S4 HANA, we are going to use the functional location. In S4, when it comes to the pricing, we use the IPC engine, whereas in ECC, it's SD pricing. So when it comes to the S4 HANA or S4 CRM, we are going to use the SD pricing. We are not going to use the IPC engine anymore. When it comes to the pricing routines, in CRM, we use the Java routines, whereas in ECC, we use the ABAP routines. In S4 HANA or S4 CRM, we are going to use the ABAP routines. We are not going to use that Java routines anymore. So what it means is that there is no duplication of the object. It's all one object in S4 HANA, and that will give you that CRM functionality as well as the ECC functionality.
Paparoa, one question on the data model. So you talked about some of the fields that are changing between CRM and S4 HANA. What are some of the things we should be watching out for those fields that have changed that might be differences that could impact customer processes?
Right. So what we have is that, as far as the standard data sets is concerned, SAP has provided the equivalent data sets in S4 HANA. And of course, Mindset, we do have some tools, which does the mapping, from SAP CRM to S4 HANA. So we have those migration tools available. But yes, there are pretty much, we do have some equivalent table or equivalent data set, when it comes to the S4 HANA, which is migrating SAP CRM object into ECC object.
Thank you.
So what is the best of the both worlds? So what SAP did was, they took the best of SAP CRM and then the best of ECC, and then, they came up with this S4 CRM. If you look at that, the business partner, right, which is, basically we call it, typically we call it as a sold to party or, or account, the payer of the bill to. But now in S4, they took the CRM concept and now they call it as a business partner. That means the business partner could be an account or ship to or payer, or it could be a vendor, it could be employee. So it's all one object, a business partner. So that's why, so if you look at that, the left side of the picture, so they took that, the CRM concept and they adapted it into S4 HANA. ARC model is much more flexible in CRM compared to SAP ECC. So that's why they adapted the CRM ARC model into S4 HANA. Material, they took that ECC object and they adapted it to S4 HANA. Equipment, functional location, maintenance plan, all those ECC objects now are available in S4 HANA. So we are going to use those master data objects in service management. If you look at that transactional types, SAP CRM has an interaction center. Now they brought it to S4 HANA. Service contract, service quote, service request, service order, service confirmation, all these transaction types, they are available in S4 HANA. So pretty much, whatever we do have in service management in SAP CRM, they do available in S4 HANA. Again, it is now part of the digital core. It is not an add-on anymore. So when it comes to the pre-sales, sales and order management, all these transaction type activities, leads, opportunities, solution codes, solution portfolios, the sales contract, the sales code, sales orders, the pricing, billing, pretty much, again, they brought all that CRM functionality into S/4HANA. So it's a unified object. They share the same database representation that requires the memory where it's all in one system. But however, there is some functionality which SAP HANA, which SAP did not bring into SAP S/4HANA. What is that? The marketing module. So if you look at the marketing, right, the big thing is that the segmentation. That's one thing, and the other thing is that the e-commerce functionality. So they did not adopt that from SAP CRM. What SAP is saying that is, if you want to have a marketing or e-commerce functionality, or if you have a complex CPQ functionality, then you should go for either hybrid or maybe calendar CPQ, but not S4 CRM. So except marketing, segmentation, e-commerce, whatever the functionality you have it in SAP CRM, they are available in S/4HANA. By the way, territory management is also not available in S/4 CRM. But other than that, pretty much, you do have all these transaction types available in S/4 CRM.
Great. One more question on this topic, Paparoa. If we move to S/4HANA CRM or the customer management module, would I expect to need to change my business process due to any of these changes? So is it harder to create materials or business partners or something like that, for example?
Yes, it's a good question, Ethan. So yes, the answer is not. Basically, SAP, they did a good job, in bringing the framework. So you still create the way you're creating sales contract, for example. Yeah, it's pretty much the same process. We follow that, so it will be much more simpler. I would say that because you're dealing with only one object, no middleware. The business process is going to remains the same. But yeah, there will be some minor changes to the UI, which I'm going to discuss in the next slide. But yeah, I would say that the business process remains the same because the framework, SAP kept it the same. And the big thing is that, yes, they improved the framework because to reduce the data redundancy. But otherwise, I would say that the business process remains the same.
Thank you.
Yeah. So far we discussed about, what is the SAP S4 CRM, why SAP S4 CRM, and what is, the functionality we have it in S4 CRM. Now, the next thing is that, okay, how do you migrate SAP CRM into S4 HANA? Fortunately or unfortunately, SAP did not provide any migration tools to bring the data from SAP CRM into S4 HANA. Because of maybe, I don't know, maybe they're going to come up in the future, but as of now, we don't have any tools available. There is a lot of configuration or customizing. You have done it in the system for many years. So that is going to be the manual task. You need to bring those configuration into S4 CRM manually. For example, let's say you have a new transaction type, existing transaction type, let's say the sales contract. Yes, you had to go to the customizing pro, and then you had to manually copy that the configuration from SAP CRM into S4 HANA. You cannot really transport it, because some of the tables behind the scenes could be different, and it's not a big task. Also, it's easy to copy the configuration from S4 into S4 HANA. Yes, it's a manual task, but it's not really something you cannot manage it. The next one is the custom code. Yes, this is a big thing, and this is going to be the manual task because there is a lot of the custom code or custom objects, created in the system for many years, and some of the code may not be relevant, as for the current business scenario. So you really look into that, what custom code we need to bring in, what custom object we need to bring in. That is going to be the manual test. And but the good news is that Mindset has some tools available to do that analysis of the custom code or custom object and give you the reports, and that will help us to do the migration of SAP CRM into S/4HANA, which I'm going to discuss about those Mindset tools a little later. But yeah, this is going to be the manual test. You cannot really push the code to transport, and also that you may have to remediate some of the code to meet the HANA standards. For example, select star from the table. SAP HANA doesn't like it. So we had to rewrite that. Some of the coding, which is not a big deal. Also, that the SAP has some tools, to tell you that to do this syntax analysis, and it will give you that the report that okay, this is the code, you have to change it to meet the HANA standards. And then when it comes to the data, there are two types of data: master data, which is for example the prospects. So we need to convert that prospects into S/4HANA CRM. It's going to be again, there is no SAP tools available, to migrate the prospects from SAP CRM into S/4HANA. But however, Mindset do have some tools available. We can utilize it, to migrate the master data. Same thing about the transactional data also, that we do have some tools again to analyze this transactional data and to extract the data from SAP and then upload into S/4HANA. So I'll go to the next slide. So what are these mindset accelerators? These tools are basically helping us to migrate a CRM content into S/4HANA. There are two types of tools available. The first one is the assessment tools. Let's say that we would like to, at least before we even move further, or to decide that what it takes to migrate the data to the system into S/4HANA, but we do have some analysis to be done. So our tools is going to scan the system, all the custom objects. When I say custom objects, means like for example, some APIs or some tables and all that. So the tool is going to scan the system, and then it's going to generate the reports, to help us, the amount of the custom objects we need to take care of it, S/4HANA. And also that, transactional data analysis. So this tool is going to find out, how much the data volume is going to be, and it will give you that, the number of transactions for each transaction type. And then again, it's also time period. For example, if you want to see that, okay, hey, for last 1 year or the last 1 quarter, if you want to find out that number of transactions created for each transaction type, that will also, which is important, because that will help us that, what is the data we need to bring it in the phase 1. We don't want to bring it all the historical data, right? So you may want to bring it, maybe last 1 year of data, you may want to bring it, when we do go live. So yes, our report is going to give you that insights about the transactional data. So that's the first the tool we have it, and then the next one is that the migrating SAP CRM content into S/4HANA. So there are two parts into this. One is extracting the data from SAP CRM, and then apply some of the business conversion rules. and then uploading to S4 HANA. So these tools are readily consumed, and it will reduce obviously it will reduce the migration, the timeline. And these tools are compatible in a lower SAP CRM environment. You may have, maybe 4.0 or 5.0 CRM version. Yes, our tools can extract the data from SAP CRM. It will be much faster, much more efficient, because we have Mindset has a huge experience of SAP CRM and also ECC. So therefore, we know that where the data is residing in CRM, and we know the tables, we know the APIs, we know what is the right API to extract the data. So with that experience, so we can say that, these tools are much more efficient. The upload tools, which is uploading the data into S4 HANA as per the S4 HANA best practices. We don't do any direct table update. We use the S4 HANA APIs, to upload these transactions or the master data, which will give you that, data integrity and all that, So I would say that, these tools are great, and I'm going to give you that, some sample reports as well, how the report looks like, when you run these tools. And also I will give you that, these tools, what are the objects we can extract as of now using these tools. So we're going to discuss that in the next slide. Okay. So the assessment tools, right? So when we install these tools, what kind of assessment it does it? So as I said, right, it's going to scan the system. It's going to find out all the custom objects like, tables, data elements, domain. So I call it as a data dictionary object. And it's going to find out all the classical baddies and the baddie enhancement, batch programs or report programs, function modules, RFCs, classes, web UI components, post-processing framework. I call it the PBF actions, CDS views, all these AET extensions, we use the AET tool, to extend that standard SAP object, or sometimes we create a custom object. So this report is going to find out all these AET extensions, event callback APIs. So it's just, the standard SAP tool, it gives you like, a general report. But what we do here is that we go one step further. We're going to segregate all these objects into these categories, and then it also gives you that what is the last change the object has been touched, so that will help us whether this object is really being used or not, and also that based on this object category, you can find out that who is the right team to work on this. So that will help us to to assign the right team, and then make the process faster. And then the transactional data insight, as I said, right, so we can give you that the number of transactions for each transaction type and for each quarter, and also that the last date the transaction has been created. We are going to give you that even attachments also. We are going to find out that the number of attachments has been created for each transaction type, and also number of surveys. All these things we can provide you that data insights. So before I go into this extraction and upload tools, I would like to show you that the sample report, the system is going to give you that. I'm going to show you that system analysis. So this is a Excel sheet. Its system is going to generate when we run our tools. This is a summary of all these custom objects. You can see that how many classes have been created, how many remote functions are available, and this will give you that the overall the picture of that all these custom objects. And then If we go to the, there are different tabs, depending upon the custom object type. Now, these are all the transaction types available in the system. So if you look at that, yeah, this is one transaction type for the task, and transaction type description, and then you can also see that number of transactions it has been created, right from the day one. And yeah, we can discuss about these word data services, all these data dictionary elements, all these custom extensions, all the baddies, classical baddies, all the report programs. If you look at this, right, this is the one program who changed this program recently and when it got changed. The function modules, all these RFCs, and then all these web UI components. And then we can also give you that, all this number of attachments for each object category. These are the web UI roles. Yeah. So this is a kind of, a sample report, the output of the assessment tool. There is another report, data analysis. So this gives you that, for each transaction type, based on the time period. Of course, when you run the tool, you can specify that what time period you want to do the data analysis. And based on the time period, it will give you that, the number of transactions, and then what was the last date the transaction has been created within the time period. So this will help us, to at least, to come up with a plan that, how much time does it take you to do the data migration, and then, what kind of resources needed, how long does it take it, all that, we can determine based on this report. It will also give you that, even the attachment analysis, there are so many attachments in the system, you may not want to bring it in the day one, but at least it can tell you that, how many attachments have been created for each transaction type. Some customers, they may use this survey management, attached to the activities and the lead and opportunities, and it will also give you that, what kind of, the service has been created with respect to the transaction. So these are the two sample reports, get generated out of these the tools we are talking about. I'll go back to the slides. Okay. So now we're going to discuss about the mindset of the tools, extraction tools, and also the upload tools. So these tools, they extract the standard object, master data like business partners, CRM tasks, activities, leads, opportunities, service requests, including the sales contract. And then within each transaction type, there are different data sets, basic data, partner data, the dates, item data, attachments, long text, surveys, and multi-level categories, document flows, and also that, all these AET tables, and then if there are any custom tables associated with this transaction type. So as I said, right, these extraction tools are written efficiently with a huge experience of mindset consultant. And not only we read the data set, but we also read the data available in the custom objects as well. And then the second part is that, uploading the data into S/4HANA. So yes, we use the standard APIs, to upload these objects into S/4HANA. We are not going to do any direct table update to keep the data integrity and all that. So again, these tools are tested, efficiently used. There's one more thing I would like to tell you, that let's say that you have some legacy CRM system. It is not SAP CRM. We can still extract the data, not using our tool, but you may have some scripts or something to extract the data from from your legacy CRM system, and then you can use our upload tools, to upload the data into S/4HANA. So our upload tools will work as long as the data format is good, It will work to upload the legacy CRM data and also SAP CRM data. Okay, so far we discussed about the mindset tools to help you, in migration of SAP CRM into SAP S/4HANA. Now we're going to discuss about the UI part. So the left side will show you that the typical UI, how it looks like an SAP CRM. The right side, the screen looks, how it looks typical. Basically, I took the basic theme and then just took one of the role. And this is the UI looks like the home page. If you look at that side, if you compare that to new UI with the old UI, the new UI looks much more it's clarity, and also that the navigation is also improved, and also that the looks like it's kind of like a Fiori theme. The visual appearance look like a Fiori application. I'll show you that a little bit more in the next slide. So it is, yes, they simplified the screen, more clarity, improved visual hierarchy, and they also added the footer toolbar and, the headers, instead of assignment blocks, now we call it as a tabs, and it aligned the look with the Fiori theme. So now you can show the more data fields on the screen because of the more clarity and all that. The next screen is going to show you that again, all this the good features about this new UI. And now the one thing is that when you display the grade, we call it as a table. Now you can display more columns, whereas in the old UI, you cannot display. If you display like if you try to display more columns, then you can't really see the data. But at least now in the new UI, at least reasonably you can see more columns in the new UI, because of these condensed table rows and less white space and all that. So again, that it is the framework is the same between the old UI and then the new UI. It's just UI SAP did a great job, to bring that to the Fiori theme into the web UI, and so that the data or the color, you can present the more data on the screen. That's a big thing, because you don't need to go to different places. Now you can go to at least you can go to one screen and to see as much data as possible. And also the performance wise, also that it will be much faster compared to the old UI. So that's about the CRM UI in S/4HANA, how it looks like. And now we are going to discuss about the data migration steps, what we follow that. We extract the data from SAP CRM tables. Sometimes we directly extract from CRM tables, or maybe we use the API. And then we do some cleansing, and then we apply some data transformation rules. And then we bring it to the staging table, and then we run these upload tools, to read the data from staging tables and then upload into S/4HANA. So we have our own standard data mapping template. Yes, the standard fields, we know that, where it goes to S/4HANA, because SAP has given that equivalent the data table, or equivalent the destination field, from SAP CRM. But there are some custom objects, or there are custom tables, custom fields. So obviously we need to decide that, where it is going to S/4HANA. We need to find out that equivalent custom table, custom field. And so we do this exercise, before we start this extraction and the migration process. We pretty much, each and every field we document it in this template, and then apply the business rules, and then we start the upload process. So this is about our data migration steps. The architecture, yeah, so if you look at that, right, the now SAP S4 CRM component is part of the S4 HANA digital core. So if you install that S4 HANA on-prem, from 1909 version, you get that SAP S4 CRM component. You don't need to do any additional installation. So that's all we have today. I hope I was able to at least give you that very high level picture about SAP S4 and also the data migration and also about the tools what Mindset can offer you. And then so now it is open for any questions. I can help you to answer this.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Paparoa. We do have a few questions for you, so I'll bring those up. So the first question, I think you addressed this implicitly, but is there an additional cost associated with the S/4HANA customer management capabilities over or beyond CRM?
Yes, it's a good question. Yeah, so that's important to know that, right? So today in SAP world, in SAP CRM and SAP ECC, now we have two different systems, two different licenses. The good news is that now with the S4 HANA CRM, there is no additional software licensing cost. Of course, if you have a new user, you have to pay the user license, but there is no additional software, and also there is no additional installation cost, because when you install that SAP S4 HANA digital core, you get that SAP S4 CRM by default. So there is no additional licensing cost.
Okay, so it sounds like it may reduce total cost of ownership.
Definitely.
But,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Because again, the point is that because it's one system, no middleware, no additional cost. So definitely, the total cost of ownership will be much lower.
Okay, thank you. So a question about the assessment. How long does the assessment take? And it looks like we do, but do I need to load the assessment tool into my system somewhere?
Yes, definitely. So we give you these tools, and you're going to install it in the development system. And of course, these tools are not going to interact when you have your custom coding. We are not going to write any data to your tables. Once you install these tools, you're going to push it to production so that we can do the data analysis, or we can also run this tool in your sandbox if it is a copy of the production. And yes, we do install that in your system. And then next question is that how long does it take the assessment? In our previous client, it took about 3 weeks, to complete the assessment part. I would say about 3 to 4 weeks. I would say that will be the time frame for completing the assessment.
Thank you. So the last question, you talked a little bit about the Fiori UI. Does the UI have to change, and what are your recommendations around how to manage that for your users?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So the good thing is that the web UI framework is still the same between CRM, SAP CRM, and S4 HANA. There are two things you can do that to reduce the change management. If you have SAP CRM 7.0, I would say that you upgrade that web UI, CRM web UI, to the latest version that will have the Fiori theme. And then when you go to SAP S4 CRM, then pretty much the UI exactly looks the same. So therefore, your change management will be much less. Or the other option is that keep that CRM web UI as it is, and then when you go to S4 CRM, by default it comes with the Fiori theme. So there's not much difference between the current web UI and the Fiori theme based web UI. I would say it's like more intuitive. I would say that. So yeah, to answer your question, that yes, there will be less. Not that much in change management, because It's just like only the homepage navigation is a little bit different. But once you go to the detailed page, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, instead of the assignment blocks, now you go to the tabs. But it's all like self-intuitive. I would say that if you have CRM 7.0, then you try to upgrade to Fiori theme so that by the time you go to S4, the UI exactly looks like the same. If you cannot do that, still it's fine. In S4 HANA, we activate the web UI, the Fiori, and then, with the less change management, people can, in a less, very quick time, they can easily understand that.
Great. That is all the questions that we have today. Thanks, Paparoa, for fielding those questions and for all of your insight during the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you all for giving us the opportunity, to have this SAP journey to S4.
I think that's it for today. I think thank you so much, Paparoa and Ethan, for a wonderful presentation. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. Please reach out if you're interested in receiving a copy of the recording of today's session, or if you're interested in scheduling time to talk with any of the members of the Mindset team. You can schedule time with us at www.mindsetconsulting.com. Hope to see you again at a future Mindset event. Thanks again.
Thank you all.